I know you motherfuckers gonna like this video. Here's exactly how to get rich fairly quickly. And it's obviously unconventional advice that no one's gonna agree with and everything. Now, real riches, once you start making a good amount of money, you realize a good amount of money isn't actually that good. And that's kind of how you know if someone's making a good amount of money, is that when they think that that good amount of money isn't a lot of money. Okay. So real riches, I would personally say, and I think most people would agree, is multi-millions. But for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to change the term rich to mean that you have an income of £20,000 or dollars per month, which I pretty much 99.9% of people watching this will consider themselves rich if they were making 20,000 a month, by the way, which is about 10 times more than the average in the UK, along with, let's say, 250,000 in net worth. So you can literally see like multiple bank accounts or an investment account with 250k. The overwhelming majority of people would consider themselves rich at that point, and you can get there within a couple of years if you just simply do the right things. Now, if you're watching this video and if you're beginning, or if you're down to take the steps of this, you are way more likely to actually achieve this goal, even though it seems utterly unrealistic right now, than the 0% chance you would have if you pursued a venture which had no chance to do this. So the overwhelming majority of people can not get rich because, one, their career just does not pay enough, and so there's literally no way for them to get rich, like, to get wealthy from this. And two, they also, probably for a good reason, don't gamble or don't do any kind of high risk investments. They probably shouldn't. They're probably not educated in it and everything, but they're really the two ways. You need the ability to explode your income, and then you also need the ability to explode that income through a high risk investment, and that's like kind of similar to gambling. So every book that you've seen, every guide that you've seen in terms of making money has been written for average people by a person who made money in a different way than what they're advertising to you. So the overwhelming majority of the advice that you actually see, which is like digestible for average people, is to save money. I've literally heard this shit before, that saving is the only way to... Shut the fuck up. I'm going to try not to get into a rant, and I just want to give you some good fucking value, but these people piss me off, and if you've watched my live streams, you know how much I detest, like, the financial gurus of today, because they're selling just average people, young people, this dream of, if you save money, you'll get to that point. That's fucking bullshit. And the new age stuff. So we all disagree with this guy. The guy who says don't buy coffee. We all know that this guy's a dumbass. But the new age advice that you have probably listened to for so fucking long, that everyone seems to listen to, is that investing is the way to get rich. And they'll say, oh yeah, compound interest, stocks. That is the biggest fucking lie. I'm telling you right now that anyone who's selling you this idea of compound interest, anyone who's telling you this idea of stocks and shares, of investing is the best way to get rich, is total fucking bullshit. High risk investment, at that point, it's almost gambling, right? It's almost gambling. So, but we'll say they're kind of the same, right? They're not saying to do a high risk investment because of course, imagine like some book aimed at like some 40-year-old people on how to get rich. They're not going to tell them to do high risk investments that are almost like gambling. They're going to tell them to do the stocks and shares, ISA, and all this bullshit. Investing in that sense, that that slow and steady type of shit, right? You do not make money from that kind of investing. You keep your money. After 40 years of keeping your account in stocks and shares, ISA and all this shit, then you'll start to make a decent amount because you're still getting like a 10% return, but inflation's like 4 to 6% or some shit. What no one tells you, which blows my fucking mind, because people put their entire faith in the system, and we can also go into like the conspiracy theories of how like the American system will eventually, like the stock system will fucking fall, but that's maybe a separate video when we're talking about crypto. But what no one will tell you is that to make a good amount of money from investing in something that is low risk, in something that is compound interest, in something that's, for the long term, you need to start off with a good amount of money first. Anyone who's telling you that investing is the key to riches and all this bullshit, I promise you that they made their money through the means that we are going to discuss. They made a good amount of money, a ridiculous amount of money that you can't even imagine, and then they put the money, let's say $200,000, $200,000 into an investment, which now makes them 10% per year. So they make $20,000 passively per year. That's pretty good. But they're telling suckers like you that you should just £50 or how to start investing from shut the fuck up, $1. It's like a fucking meme of like how to start like investing with no money. Shut the fuck up, bro. Investing is for if you have money. If you're watching this video, you probably don't have money. So we're going to talk about investing, but the type of investing that's simply like, I'm only going to teach, like, I'm not going to teach you. I'm just going to kind of like say it in the video just to answer the question. But the real, like the best case scenario is that you explode your income first. This is what no one else wants to teach, because then you get put as like, you know, this scam. You get told like, okay, if I tell you right now, okay, I'll teach you how to be rich fast, I'll teach you how to explode your income, everyone suddenly is going to call me a scammer, because it just sounds really scammy. And you've been raised by this glass is kind of pissing me off, bro. It's kind of like, I just bought a new one of these blue light blockers. It's kind of loose. You've been raised by these fucking little average people who believe that increasing your income takes 3 years of sucking the daddy, like the boss's dick, and then you'll get like a 10% raise, which is the equivalent of inflation. That's what most people see as increasing their income. You have to understand, before we continue, the overwhelming majority of people in your life are broke. And we need to set some like standards. Okay, what is broke? I would say broke is that you don't even have 10,000 in your bank account, and that's an insane amount for the overwhelming majority of people. Like maybe for an average person, let's say in the UK, he's had 10,000 in his bank account maybe twice in his life. He's been broke for his entire life. And of course we can do the comparison, but like, you know, but broke in the UK, but that he's lived a good life compared to someone in, yeah, of course, but it's all relative to where you live and the level of security and freedom that you have from that. He can never really miss much work, otherwise he gets like in the state of destruction where he's like, how am I going to make ends meet? That's broke. So with that definition, pretty much everyone in your life is broke. Your teachers especially are broke. Your parents are probably broke. Because if they weren't, you probably wouldn't be watching this video. You at least wouldn't need to. You're all broke. All your friends are broke. Everyone's broke. So who the fuck are you taking advice from? Would you sign up for a fat personal trainer? And yet we listen to our teachers when they tell us education is the key and degree is the key. Oh, but if you get a degree, then you'll make more money. Shut the fuck up, bro. You're broke. Like, you make like 28K a year, bitch. So you have to understand that every bit of knowledge inside of your mind needs to be destroyed before we go further. Because if it doesn't, you're going to have limiting beliefs with everything that I suggest in this video. And really, I was going to go straight into the things to do if you want to hear that before I talk about the mindset. So there's things we've got to discuss, right? But right now, I'm going to teach you about the mindset and the limiting beliefs that you have to overcome. Now, if you don't want to listen to this type of like wishy-washy stuff and you want to skip straight ahead to, okay, Hamza, tell me exactly what to do to make this money. What business ideas, what can I do to make this money? You can do that. You can skip further ahead in this video. Just before you do that, I just want you to know that I have full confidence that you will fail, that you will stay broke for a while. Because the actual tactics is what broke people focus on. Because put it this way, imagine a successful entrepreneur. Imagine a guy who's like, even imagine me, right? I wouldn't say that I'm like ultra successful, but I would consider, especially including my age, I am now considered successful amongst a lot of people. If I lose this channel, I will become successful again. In fact, if I lose this channel, I wouldn't even become unsuccessful, because you would see me again within like 2 months. The same, I want you to think of some like relentless, some high achiever that you know, that you probably don't personally know him, but you've seen on like YouTube or something. This is why you see so many rich people, so many successful people who lose everything because of like the housing estate crash or the real estate bubble, or they make some bad investments or something, and then they get it back. And then they lose it, they get it back. This is why you consistently see that. Because it was never the actual specific tactic that really gets someone rich or not. It's simply just their brain, potentially their body as well. It's just the skill and the way that they go about the world. That's what makes someone rich. That's what makes someone successful. There's a certain type of person who, if you strip them away from everything, they will become successful again. There's a certain type of person, and this might be you, so I hope you've watched this bit instead of just being a dumbass and click forward, who I could come to your house right now, build the business for you. I'll get you your first 100,000 subscribers or followers on social media, because that's what I do. That's what I've learned in terms of business, is audience building. Becoming an influencer and being a personality that people enjoy watching. I will come and give you 100,000 subscribers right now. I guarantee that you'll lose it all. I will set up a business that makes you $10,000 a month. I guarantee that you'll lose it. Do you see some truth in that? Because you should. Unless you're already like a successful guy and everything. That's why I'm saying this video is for like the 99.9% of people, right? If you're somewhat of a normal person, you should see the truth in that. You should not have that level of ego to think that if you suddenly were teleported up here from here, you were teleported up here, that you would maintain it. Because you have done everything to deserve to be here. How did that make you feel? I just said that you essentially deserve to be where you're at. What thoughts is your brain generating right now? Probably is excuses, and sometimes, you know, your brain, even the brain of like successful people, generates excuses. But are you going to listen to them? Are you going to comment below? The same fucking, every single fucking time I roast these comments and then they come in and comment more. But Hamza, in India. Oh, but it's easy for you to say, but I have 700 children that I need to look after. Oh, but I'm brown. Shut the fuck up. Every single limiting belief is literally just you holding yourself back. It's like the dynamic of young men who look at the girl that they want and they're like, oh, I wouldn't go speak to her because she won't. Why are you rejecting yourself? I'm on your side here. I'm telling you, yeah, destroy those beliefs because you can do it. These motherfuckers come into the comments and say, no, Hamza, you're wrong. You've got too much faith in... I'm speaking like a dumbass today. You've got too much faith in me. I am like, I can't amount to anything. If you believe that, then you are right. But if you believe what I'm saying, if you believe in yourself, and those cringe fucking like motivational quotes, you know, those Instagram motivational quotes or those posters that you put up on your wall of athletes, I promise you with 100% certainty, those cringy Instagram posts and those cringy posters of athletes that say like, believe in yourself, I promise you that they are totally accurate. That the most important thing, before I even tell you the things that can make you rich, is literally believing in yourself. So how much do you think you can make? How much are you comfortable making? Because you're going to give me a bullshit answer right now. And you're probably going to say, oh, 10,000 or 20,000. If your brain generated that, just know that you're a little bit of a pussy. Because the reason why you said that is because I said it at the start of this video, and I've also said 10,000 in a previous video. So you're just kind of like adopting my answers because you think it's what I want to hear. That's a side note, but you are a little bit of a pussy, right? How much do you think you can make? In multiple different success books that I've read, they've said the same dynamic between how much you believe you can make is pretty much exactly how much you will make. So in the 1900s, there was this, I think he's still alive, there's this very OG success like person, like guru, mentor called Brian Tracy. And in one of his books, he said that he met like the $5,000 a year salesman. So of course, $5,000 a year would have been like a fair amount back then. He said that when the salesman would have met his quote of $5,000 a year slightly early, he would get sick, he would get lazy, there would always be excuses, and then he'd end pretty much at 5,000. When he didn't hit 5,000, it was getting close to the year. Suddenly out of nowhere, he'd be into like fucking rampage. You get the best month of his year. So what dollar a year are you? And don't lie here. Do not lie here and just suddenly say the answer that you think I want to hear and say, oh yeah, I'm 5 million. Shut the fuck up. Be truthful. Because for a long time, I was about, per month, I was about $1,500. That's like where I stayed at for literally 5 months, which in my industry, especially in my growth, is fucking, that's a long time, right? For about 5 months, I stayed at around £1,500 a month, which was more than I had ever made previously. And it was kind of getting to the point where it was almost like, this is where the stress started in terms of making money. And I was thinking about like taxes and accounting and, you know, all that bullshit comes in. So I felt like I was a £1,500 a month type of guy. It's so important that you like take some time right now, like you can pause this video. How much do you feel like you deserve? How much do you feel like you can handle? And be realistic, because after you make a few thousand extra a month, like taxes come in, you have to maybe get an accountant, you have to like figure some extra shit out. You've literally got extra money in your bank account that you're kind of like uncertain, like can I spend it? Should I wait, someone said to like make a separate account for the bank, like for the taxes. What should I do with the money? Am I going to waste it? Am I going to go on holiday? Most people will fall within the range per month of hundreds of dollars to a couple thousand max. You might have gone excited because you're like, oh yeah, but if I fall into the range a couple thousand a month, it's still really good. But it's like, Okay, but so is 10,000, so is 20,000, so is 50,000. There's people making that much money. And the only thing that's stopping you from joining that group of people who are making like a sickening amount of money, 20,000 a month, is just yourself. Now, of course, you're going to start coming with excuses, but I can't make that much and stuff. You're just rejecting yourself. Let's talk now about the steps to get rich fast. So, step 1 is to explode your income. This is the most important step. Now, before I actually explain step 1, chances are, for the majority of people who are watching this, who are somewhat interested in this concept of making more money and everything, you've probably been trying to do this for a little while. Now, if you have been trying to heavily increase your income for longer than, let's say, about 6 to 12 months, so for the past 6 months or for the past 12 months, if you've really had to, about 12 months ago, did you have the desire, yes, I really want to make more money? If no, if like this is a relatively new thought to you, which to be honest, about 12 months ago, it was actually, is that for 2020? 12, just about like 14 months ago, it was a relatively new thought for me. So for example, 15 months ago, my goal for the entire month was £100 because I wasn't thinking about money. I was just thinking it was fucking sick that people wanted to pay me to go on a call with them and everything. The reason why I'm asking this question of like, how long have you tried to increase your income, is that if it's been a while and you haven't seen any kind of progress, if, for example, you've made great progress, fair enough, ignore what I'm about to say. But if you've tried to increase your income for a while and you have not made progress, especially if you have simply not put in the efforts to at least open up something that could make it more income. So, for example, more than 12 months ago, you've been thinking, okay, I want to make money online, I want to make more money and everything. But you just keep finding yourself fucking around. You just haven't made that business. You haven't done that thing. You're just wasting a lot of fucking time. If that's you, we need to drop you back down to step 0. Step 0 is to improve your mental health. Now, you just become bored and disinterested because you only wanted to know how to make money. I promise you that you're going to stay broke unless you improve your mental health first. Why? Because, you know, Hamza, but there's depressed millionaires. That's true. But he's productive. And clearly you're not productive. If you've been trying to make money and you haven't like set anything up for the last year, and now you're going to be, oh, but Hamza, I actually have set something up. I made that Instagram meme. Shut the fuck up. Instagram meme page. If you were along with me right now when I said step 0, you turn this video off and you go focus. You won't do this. That's the thing. So you'll stay broke. But go and literally focus on your mental health for about 1.5 months, a couple of weeks. Severely reduce your depressive symptoms and your anxiety symptoms. I've mentioned it loads on my main channel. Because if you can't be productive, it's solely because of your mental health. There may be other like environmental factors and stuff, but I'm assuming that you somewhat have the ability to work. You just can't seem to get yourself working. It's because of your mental health. You really want to stay around for this video because you want to find out what just trust me when I say, if you focus entirely on your mental health for about a month, you'll unlock that ability to be productive and actually do these businesses that you've wanted to do for a while. That's so insanely important. I would honestly argue that more than 80% of the people who are watching this are in this stage. And every single one of them, including you, thinks that they're not in this group. Because it's the unsexy answer. You don't want to click on this video and get told about mental health and meditation and shit. You don't want to hear about that. You just want to, Hamza, money, like a dumbass. So out of the 80% of people who are watching this, who are going to fail this goal, because they've neglected that literally the thing that makes them the money is their brain, and the brain's health is so trash because they're on social media all the time, they're watching fucking Netflix, they're on self-improvement, but they're playing video games and they're eating sweeties, they're eating Western food that literally makes you stupid. Your ability to be productive, your ability to do focused work is how you make this money. I'm going to tell you like a couple of different, like a variety of different ways to get rich fast, to get like what you've wanted. But every single one of them requires you to actually have like a healthy brain. Every single one of them requires you to focus. And I guarantee right now that you still think that I'm not talking to you. That I must be talking to someone else. I guarantee right now your focus is complete trash. I promise you that the overwhelming majority of people do less than an hour of work per day, but they're in work for about 10 hours. Unless it's a physical job, okay? So if you're, for example, you're a waitress, we've got a couple of waitresses watching this. If you're a waitress, then of course you're going to be working for like the 10-hour shift that you're on. But if you're customer service, if you've got something that actually requires like knowledge instead of your body, You're doing real work for less than an hour because you check your phone and you think that checking your phone only takes a couple of seconds. It knocks your productivity by about 20 minutes. And you still think that I'm talking about someone else. If you're continuing to watch right now, you promise that you are part of this group who are on step 1, whose mental health is fine, and that you have only recently been thinking about the idea of increasing your income. Deal? See, so now we know that you're a liar. I'm getting pissed off because the overwhelming, like, I wish I could just force you to take this advice. The 0 step to anything that you want to achieve comes from improving your mental health so that you can actually take the advice. Otherwise, you would have liked this video so much more if I didn't waste this much time and just told you exactly the ideas and I told you, oh yeah, like, you know, do this. This video would have performed better and it would have been more for my benefit. But I'm telling you right now, I'm not making this video for my fucking benefit. I don't check the YouTube analytics or anything. I'm trying to drill into the point here that you will not achieve most of the goals that you're setting out if your mental health is trash. And for most people, it is trash. Most people want the money, they want the women, they want the gains from the gym, they want the respect of others, they want friends, when they still have depression, when they still have anxiety. You will get nothing done. This is the last call to action, to really just sit here and just think about your fucking actions and to think like, okay, this guy's literally just wasting away his fucking video just to tell me to improve my mental health. Maybe I should, just for a few seconds, consider if he is talking about me. It takes about a month to improve your mental health when you do like the things that I suggest. And yeah, that's an insult to people who've had depression for so long. But it literally takes a month of doing the good habits. No one wants to hear it, but it's literally, you do the good habits for a month and more, for 2 weeks really. Every single time I put someone on the plan for 2 weeks, their depression and their anxiety symptoms halved. But everyone thinks that they're the special case, that it wouldn't work for them. Exercise, but like I exercised 3 weeks ago, and journaling, I've never tried, but it's weird. Meditation doesn't work for me. Dumbass. So that's step 1, explode your income. Now we're going to get to the meaty parts, right? The fun parts. There are multiple ways to explode your income. And for the overwhelming majority of people, even though they like to like comment on my videos and say like, oh Hamza, you hate the 9 to 5, but some 9 to 5 workers are really hard workers and they can make a lot of, shut the fuck up, okay? The guys who can make a lot of money in their careers are pretty much not us. Those are the people who, for example, they've wanted to be like software developers for years. And even doctors don't make a good amount of money. Most of the professions that you think make a good amount of money actually don't. There's like a couple of different industries right now that you can make more than 100k per year. And even then, 100k for 60 to 80 hours a week is actually not a good trade. That's actually not like going to make you rich whatsoever. Those people are still broke. Generally, they only do well with money because they are quite intelligent, quite minimalistic. They don't really party, you know, the nerdy software developer type of guy. And so they literally just save the money and end up buying property. So a career isn't something that I've mentioned, but it's every now and then like someone complains and says like, oh, but Hamza, careers are really, shut the fuck up, okay? There's multiple different ways that I suggest to explode your income, and I'll be completely honest, most of them actually do require some kind of like genetics, and it's just the way it works, right? So the first and obvious one to explode your income is to start and to grow a business. Now a business is kind of like a self-employment. So instead of you being employed by someone else, you find out a need and you solve it on your own, and then you get money or charge money for your own personal clients. So a business, for example, this is a business right now. There was a need for good self-improvement videos on YouTube. So I said, okay, I will fulfill that need. I, got good at it and everything. It takes me a year and a half or so to pop off. And now I make a good amount of money from that. Another business, I really like Chris from First Man because he has a very like old school manual type of business where he's used the influence of like the personal brand, the YouTube, the social media, but now he has like physical products that he sells. So that's a very like interesting business where like my friend on YouTube, in case you don't know him, literally sells like his own supplements. He's starting like a clothing line and everything. So that's a real business. I won't go too much into this because I've explained business a bunch of times and I would have to do a separate video in depth. And I think it's more interesting to talk about these other ones. The second way to explode your income is through athletics. It's to become an athlete. The thing is, just like the other things we're going to talk about. Now, like I told you I was going to give you ideas, but of course it's not going to be fucking easy. Everything that we're going to talk about, you kind of have to be like the top 1%. Or, here's the thing, right? So, the best 100 basketball players or 200 basketball players, they make all the money. The best three basketball players make literally 90% of the money, right? And the same with every sport. And the guys who are, for example, top 2%, so they're still better than pretty much every other player in the world, but they literally make like pennies. Like, you can be almost world famous, but make pennies just because you're not in a couple of the top teams. Because that's how it goes. I forgot the term. There's a very specific term here. But it's kind of like all of the rewards in life compound for the guy who's ultra at the top. And the guy just below him gets literally significantly less because we only care about number one. Who was the second guy who stepped foot on the moon? Some nerds will actually answer this and shit, but the thing is, most of us don't even know. Who's the second fastest man in the world? Most of us don't even know. So, in terms of athletics, in terms of being an athlete, you kind of have to get into the top 1%. And so, the truth is, pretty much no one who's watching this is going to be there. But what's interesting now is that you could be an amateur athlete. You could even be you could actually be bad and make more money, not than the top, 1% everything, but like than the list of guys below them. How? By not playing professionally. By simply doing what you do and using that as content for social media. It's an answer that's going to kind of piss you off because everything that I'm going to suggest, every way to get rich, does come with this thing of like, oh yeah, you've got to be talented and also extremely like hardworking and also have the right genetics. So the second one that we'll talk about is, for example, artistic or creative. So let's say like you're a singer. Well, the same thing. You can 100% practice and get way better at singing, but we would assume that the best singers also do have like a genetic talent. We're not going to like say, oh, they're just lucky or anything, but they probably do, right? They probably have like a naturally good voice, which gets even better through training. So the top 1% of singers, the top 1% of drummers or whatever, anything that you want to talk about, they make all the money and everyone below them barely makes enough. Apart from the people who take that same passion and literally put it onto social media. And they're the people who are like the second class citizens. They're making, most of them like will be making second below the people at the top. Does that make sense? So the top basketball player, Michael Jordan, he makes the most money by far. And the people who play in line with him make the most money. That's the top 1%. The rest of the 99% of basketball players, so all the guys who are amazing in college and all this, they literally make pretty much no money. Even the guys who like are starting to get into the NBA, but they're in like a nobody team or anything, they pretty much make no money too. The guys at the top 1% make all the money. We're not going to imagine that we're going to be there. But this guy down here who's in the 50%, the 70%, you can even literally be bad at the sport because that kind of like sells on social media. But if this guy has an entrepreneurship mindset, if he learns some of the skills that we're going to discuss, he can make more. He can make not as much money as the 1%, but more than all these guys down here. Because it really, like, it is that simple. Of, for example, a guy is interested in basketball, so then he posts a series of like how to jump higher, how to shoot better. It's documenting your progress on social media and then giving value to your audience. That's what is the ultimate business in the modern day. In my opinion, there is no better way to make money than to build an audience of people who like you and then to sell them stuff. But also on these platforms, you like, for example, YouTube is just an incredible platform where you literally get paid for your videos after you hit like the monetization. And at first you don't really get much, but once your channel's blown up, it's more than a full-time income. Last month, YouTube paid me £6,600 just like passively for the videos that I had posted. Never mind the fact that I had this audience who were buying my products. And so my total income was more than 20,000 for the month. A part of the artistic / creative or athletic criteria can also be for esports, for gaming. And this is this trap that a lot of young men get because they want to get into esports. They'll play no. You don't play League of Legends in esports. You work. This isn't fucking play. Like the amount of people I've spoke to who have literally coped so fucking hard and said that, oh, but Hamza, it's productive. Like 7 hours of League of Legends is productive because I might get shut the fuck up. Do you think those guys are playing? They train for 12 to 16 hours a day to dominate your ass. You have no chance unless you are training in these games. Which the overwhelm, like, I don't think I've ever really met someone who would have potential for this. You've got to train. Like, this isn't fucking play. This isn't like a game anymore. This is work. Esports is not a fucking game anymore. But the overwhelming majority of young guys sees someone making money on like the esports player won $1 million from League of Legends. And he's like, I can do it too. It's fucking cope for their addiction. But you know what's interesting? The top 1% of esports players make all the money. They're the ones who win the Dota tournaments or the League of Legends tournaments. Everyone else doesn't really make that much. But the people who play the game and they put it onto social media or they stream it or they make videos, they make about as much. So do you not see, there's two ways with a bunch of these things. You can either be like the best in terms of skill and training, or you can just be the guy who's good at documenting it onto social media and making it entertaining for other people to watch. That's the better way, in my opinion. This requires vigorous hours of training. Training every day in basketball. Setting up fights for boxing and kickboxing every single month and like being on fight camp and doing all the hard shit. Whereas this is the guy who records his progress. This is the guy who says like, oh yeah, like here's how to punch 5% faster, and the video gets 1 million views. And of course it's not going to be easy either way. And there's still certainly a level of luck and skill and genetics and everything. But you don't need to be at that top 1% to actually make money, for example, from something like basketball. Singing as well would say the exact same thing. So I know a girl, I think she watches these videos even on the second channel as well, and she's wanted to be a singer for so long, and she's actually getting some gigs now. So after like years of that being her passion, but she's never been able to monetize it, and she's had to work jobs that she hasn't liked, and she's like really like quite not resentful, but like she's been hurt in those years in the sake that she hasn't been able to fulfill like her purpose and the things that really fill her full of fulfillment, because for years she wasn't able to make money from singing. Eventually now she's been able to like book gigs and everything. I'm very happy for her, but she would have had way more success singing on social media, and that, in fact, that's what she's actually started to do. And that's, I think, actually, maybe she'll correct me, but like that's why she probably got recognized to then start getting booked onto bigger gigs. So of course, like I don't want this video, we'll go into some other ideas, but I don't want this video to just be a simple, like, oh, make a YouTube channel and shit. But I promise you that whatever idea that you have in mind to make your money, I promise you that it is not only worse, just in all sakes, less profitable, more time consuming, way more of a headache than making a business on social media. Let's say, for example, you want to be a personal trainer. You want to train clients and everything, right? It's completely over fucking saturated. You're not special. No one really wants fitness advice from you or anything, but like every single person that sees, the cringy coaches on like Instagram, I need 5 more clients. Shut the fuck up, right? It's the same thing. So you can go and be the personal trainer who's making barely $2,000 a month, and he's literally working a sales job, but he gets to work in the gym and everyone thinks that that's a benefit, but you ask the trainers and like, they actually don't like that shit. And they make like what, 25, 30 pounds an hour? Or you can be the personal trainer who posts home workout routines on YouTube and he makes 20,000 a month, 50,000 a month. Probably not 50 because that's a high number, but let's say 5,000 a month. So whatever you plan to do, you would be just better off in almost every sense just doing it online. Apart from the one sense of potentially the sense of like fulfillment in the idea that, oh no, but you want to be, train someone in person, which fair enough. But in my opinion, if you do want to do something in person, for example, you want to go do the gig in person, you want to go play basketball in person to compete, you want to go train people in person, or you want to like, something in person, right, for the sake of fulfillment, what I would say is still make the social media business, make the money from that, and then do limited hours of you needing to do like the in-person thing so that you have complete control over it and you don't need to do it for money because you're already making more than enough money online. Everyone is like, there's so much fucking money on social media, and you're really telling me that you have none of it right now? That you've claimed none of it for yourself? Every limiting belief that's coming into your mind, but Hamza doesn't know because this thing affects me and stuff. I'm just telling you right now, there's a person who's dumber than you, and there's a person who's lazier than you, who's making 10 times more than you do just because they started posting on social media. And yeah, of course, there's a sense of luck, but the idea is like luck evens out after you're posting consistently for an entire year or 2 years or 3 years. Luck evens out. If you're posting some good shit, if you're knowledgeable, if you've got like a good personality, it evens out and you do get the success that you deserve after a while. And finally, really, the last way to explode your income is through gambling. so we can do high risk investments. This is like trading and stuff. Everyone says that trading, in case you don't know, trading is kind of like where you exchange like currencies or crypto. You kind of like buy something, sell something, and all this, and all the prices just constantly fluctuate. A lot of people say it's skill. It's not, in my opinion, but they'll disagree and everything. The data does show that pretty much no one can really time the market, and it's just better to go with like the safer options. But there is a possibility that you can explode your income and your assets through something like gambling or high risk trading investments, which, for example, you'd put a lot of money into some random coin on crypto that may explode soon, like fucking cum rocket or whatever the fuck these like meme coins are. Before we move on to the next step, so this at this step right now, pretty much no one has really passed this step, and of course I wish there was like better advice I could give you and, you know, lay down like, oh, but there's this other idea. But the simple answer is pretty much make a business for most people. And for most people, make a business on social media. Be the face of that business. Have people who like you and build up an audience of tens of thousands of people who would buy stuff from you. Yeah, of course it's hard. But so was going to be a fucking personal trainer anyway. Of course it's hard, but so was going to work in fucking customer service or software development, whatever it was. But the difference is that when you have an audience of people who like you, that's how you get rich fast. Because they'll buy your shit. At this point then, it's very, very worthwhile to start developing the skills to actually make these businesses. So of course, you may need like a level of like training and discipline to go into like the athletic options. But let's say for the business, you'll want skills like persuasion, influence, sales, marketing, storytelling. You'll want to learn about how to actually build an audience of people that not only like you, but they kind of like each other. So now that you have a community, and when people have a community, they'll stay around for longer. You want to learn things like dark side shit. Let's be honest. Let's talk about some dark shit which no one else talks about. If you, for example, you want to do well on social media, you've got to learn about manipulation. I'm telling you right now, most of the guys at the top are good at manipulating. They've either researched it very, very clearly in like a dark intent, or they just naturally were good at manipulation. They're good at hooking your attention. No one's really going to say this shit to you because it sounds dark as fuck, but like the people at the top, including me, know how to make you addicted to their content. You're probably addicted to my content, even though you believe that you've got total control and you could, you know, I can stop watching at any time. That's what the fucking pothead also said. I can start smoking every time. Yeah, you're addicted. I made you addicted to this shit because that's a skill of my business. No one else is going to tell you that shit, are they? And guess what? I'm telling you right now because another skill of my business is knowing for the fact that my authenticity and honesty also makes you like me more. So I've just hit you with a fucking 1-2 just then. Oh, but I can stop watching Hamza videos. Shut up, bro. No, you can't. They can't, bitch. Finally then, step 2. So step 0 was improve your mental health, actually have the capability to follow this advice and to be productive. Step 1 is to explode your income, and there's different ways you can do it. There's either be very, very, very good at the things that can explode your income, like give you huge income, huge money, which is things like being the best in like an athletic sport or creative or singing or, you know, all that type of stuff, or make a business. And either way, if you can't do those hard discipline type of stuff, make a business about them, make a social media profile about them, grow that, give value, learn how to grow social media. That in itself is probably one of the most in-demand skills. Like that's probably the best way to make money right now. I literally cannot think of a single way to make money in a better, smoother, fulfilling way than to just grow a social media business. And then finally, step 2 is just what to do with that income. And of course you want to, you know, reward yourself and everything, but the best entrepreneurs by far keep their expenses low. Even though you get to like charge expenses to the business, it doesn't work out as well as you think. The best entrepreneurs by far live that same minimalistic lifestyle, and they reinvest heavily back into the business. If I didn't do that, we wouldn't be anywhere near as close to this subscriber count or this growth or this level of like influence that I have over these guys. It's so interesting that I can instantly know who's average or not, and who's not just gonna stay broke. As soon as they ask me like, oh, but Hamza, you're making money, why haven't you moved it? Why haven't you bought an expensive car yet, Hamza? Because I don't want to be like you. The best entrepreneurs reinvest ferociously back into the business, and that's how it regrew. That's why, for example, Mr. Beast makes money. Mr. Beast is like probably the top YouTuber right now. He makes millions, and he literally makes videos that cost millions. That's why, that's like how you get that huge fucking growth. I reinvested back into the business fucking heavily. I haven't moved. I literally live with my parents still. But now I have 5 editors. I don't even think like professional, high, very high subscriber count channels have 5 different editors. So we can pump out a video almost every single day. So the second step is how to reinvest, not only into the business, but also how to invest for the future. So in my opinion, the TLDR, I won't skip much time because this video is kind of long, so I'll just tell you the complete TLDR. In terms of, we'll talk about reinvesting, but in terms of investing, invest into Bitcoin and Ethereum. Those are the 2 that I am personally invested in, and I don't literally think about anything else. And the reason why, stocks and shares, in my opinion, is total bullshit, and the people who have invested into that are gonna get really, really depressed. And like I've said this a few times, probably this year or by next year, it's gonna be like the chaotic scenes of, I think it was 2008, where you're gonna see people start, and also the Wall Street crash as well. But you're gonna see people jumping out of buildings. You really are. These average people who have invested into the stocks and shares like ISA and the index funds and all this shit, they cannot handle losing 10 to 20% of their portfolio, and it will happen. When people are killing themselves, that's when I will buy. It just got dark as fuck, right, bro? Money and investing is immoral. That's my like sort of advice for you. When people start killing themselves over property and also over index funds and stocks and all this shit, that's when you buy. That's when there's been a huge dip. Right now, everyone's so happy. Oh, properties, oh my God, such a good investment. Stock, have you seen the ISA and all this bullshit? When everyone's buying, when everyone is happy, you stay the fuck still. You stack cash instead, or other things like crypto. When everyone's sad, when everyone's selling, when everyone's killing themselves, that's when you buy. It's dark as fuck, but that's the truth. I'm not gonna filter myself here. We're 40 minutes in. You're one of the fucking boys if you're watching this shit. You make your point. You make your choice. It's morally wrong, fair enough. It's maybe evil. You make your choice if you want to follow the same route, or you can do what every single other person is doing. And when you find yourself amongst the majority, you know that you're generally gonna be wrong. That doesn't mean to start fucking walking upside down or eating fucking doo-doo or something. But generally, with things like this, you know that you're in the wrong position when everyone else is doing the same thing as you. Everyone's buying right now, so I'm sitting still. When everyone starts selling, I'll buy. Crypto is what I would recommend. And crypto is a very weird thing, so I highly recommend you don't just take my advice for it. You go and do more research, but at the very least, Bitcoin and Ethereum, forget every other coin. Every other coin that people tell you, I won't say that like they're not scams or anything, but my mindset is that they are simply not worth the time to even think about. Bitcoin and Ethereum, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Every other coin, like if you search for crypto on YouTube, it's just fucking toxic. That's why, like, if you know the basics of crypto, you kind of understand, like, Bitcoin's pretty much inevitably going to go up to the same inevitable that, for example, the stocks and shares will over the long term. So at that point, invest in Bitcoin and Ethereum right now because they're quite low prices at the time of posting this video. You can start to then diversify once you've got like a good nest egg. You've got, like, for example, save up 10 to 20 to 50,000 in an emergency fund. You'll always want one of those. I should have mentioned this at the start. The first like real investment is onto your mental health, in which you make a separate bank account and you put at the very least £5,000 that you now don't even own. You just leave it there. 10,000, 15. I had 15,000, then I took 5,000 out for crypto. So I've got 10,000 in a separate bank account that I barely even remember the details for. So that when shit hits the fan, when, for example, I get a massive tax bill or some random stuff happens, I've got 10,000 just sat there. Up until you have at least 5,000 sat into a separate account, you do not think about investing because nothing is higher ROI than an emergency savings account. Once you've got the emergency savings account, you might even want to stack more in like a business account or your personal account, just, so you've got like extra leeway. Then you imagine you're at zero. Now you start thinking of investing. Most people don't do that because it's like, most people, for example, eat fast food and it's the exact same thing. You get what I mean, right? Most people are addicted to like the instant pleasure of like, oh, but like, I could start investing and make more money today. No, shut the fuck up, right? Because you're going to be one of those people jumping off the building when your stocks go down. Make sure you put away 5,000, 10,000 more into a separate account that you now don't even own. When someone asks you how much money you have or you're thinking about it, that isn't money that you even own. It's like when you get fucked, that's when you're like, oh yes, I have that extra bit. It's kind of like the advice we got taught in school, which was like, grab a tenner before you go on a night out to the clubs, before you go drink. Grab a 5 or a tenner, put it into your shoe, and don't be a fucking dumbass in the middle of the club. Oh, but I've got a tenner in my shoe. No, what the fuck? Like, in case you get fucking robbed, in case you lose your wallet or something, that's where the tenner actually comes in handy. That is so important. The amount of confidence that gives you, like the level of like fuck you confidence, where you're kind of like, yeah, like if I lost my job right now, if I lost even YouTube right now, yeah, like of course I would be really sad. I've lost all progress and everything, but yeah, like I'd be fine. 10,000 is like, it's more than a year that I would like. It gives me more than a year runway of living here. More than a year, way more. My expenses are only a couple hundred a month, like if even that. When you start thinking then of investing, choose, in my opinion, the medium risk to medium reward. The low risk, low reward is kind of like the long-term index funds and everything, and that will probably be good once the prices dip. But right now, it's inconceivable to me that people are still suggesting you to buy at the top of like the top of the top prices ever in existence. It blows my mind. So you get onto Bitcoin and Ethereum. Those are my suggestions anyway. And this might sound like a bit scammy if you're not into crypto. You're thinking, wait, why is he telling me this is a scam or something? Bitcoin and Ethereum are kind of like the two biggest coins in the cryptocurrency world. And Bitcoin especially is kind of like the universal crypto coin. It's kind of like the biggest one that we all kind of understand. It's like, it's not really the best coin, and it's not probably going to be the one that we kind of use, but it's kind of like the one that we're all agreeing on is kind of like the king of, in a sense, right? You'll just do some research and you'll kind of see, right? So that's like the medium risk and medium reward. And finally, I'll just quickly go over reinvesting into the business. Reinvesting into your business usually has a higher ROI than everything else, including the medium risk, medium reward cryptocurrency. So reinvesting into your business or into yourself. For example, training, reinvesting into increasing your income. So you might, certain businesses or qualifications or something that you can do that would increase your income. Reinvesting into equipment, all this stuff first, even though it sounds like it's not exactly an investment, for the majority of people, the extra $1,000 to $2,000 that you could put into your business, like $2,000, would give you a far higher ROI than putting that $2,000 into like stocks and shares and thinking like, oh yeah, but like, in 1 year it might be 2,200. Like, okay, in 1 year, or you put the 2,000 into like good YouTube equipment, and in 1 year you might have 10,000 subscribers. It's a long ass video, and I hope it's somewhat helped people. Of course, it's not like gonna be a straightforward one, because I just want to reiterate the beginning points. Like, the biggest reason why people actually get successful and people actually make a good amount of money isn't just because of the tactic that they're currently doing. It is simply because of the type of person that they are. And I want you to just remember that, like, I would come to your house and build a business and you would still fail if you have the wrong mindset. And you probably think that you don't have the wrong mindset. That's bullshit. Because if you had the right mindset, you would already have the business. You would already be like making a good amount of money. So before, like, I know it's anticlimactic because you wanted to click on this video and think like, okay, he's gonna how to exactly get fast and shit. The truth is, if you just spend the next few months focusing on things on like your mental health, your productivity, your discipline, your willpower, your ability to stay focused and to do deep work instead of like the bullshit work that most people do where they check their phone and they're checking Discord and all shit, I guarantee that you'll be successful within a couple of years. You automatically, like, then after you've actually got to the point where you can do some good fucking work and you can like zone in on something, we don't even need to give you advice of like how to get rich or like, you should think about business or anything, because you'll automatically find that stuff by yourself. If the people who watch this video, maybe you're different because you've sat through the entire video, but the majority of people who clicked on this video, I want you to look at the view count right now. More than 90% of the people who clicked on this video have clicked off, and I guarantee that they're the people who needed to hear this advice the most, but they're going to click onto a different video, which is a fucking success motivational video and shit. They're the people who need to be sat down and told, bro, you can't even read. Like, you literally can't even read for longer than 2 sentences before your mind wanders. And you're searching for fucking tactics on how to get rich quick. No, shut the fuck up. Like, learn to read first. Can you like write? Can you fucking write in English? Like, can you stay focused for 10 minutes without your mind wandering? The majority of people have to say no to that question, but they'll still be searching around on how to make money, how to get rich fast. If you focus on those fundamentals, if you learn how to get, to enter a deep work focus. If you improve your mental health so that you actually have the capability to actually do these things, unlike just most people are just fucking so depressed from their phone, you'll stand out. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah.